First things first, I've got some big news. By the time you see this, I pretty much should have become a father yet again, or I will be a father in the next day or so. So I do apologise that this video may not be the most insanely edited, but I am limited of time in this current time period. However, something has happened in the last week or so, and I feel like it is something that I do want to talk about, and that is about a certain man called Harry Maguire, who is just fucking everywhere. Harry Maguire, right? Tell me your thoughts down below and what you think about him. I think everyone has their own opinions on him. I feel so bad for Harry Maguire. Like, genuinely, I mean this in the most nicest way imaginable. I truly mean this in a nice way. He plays football like he's part of an awful US comedy where like a laugh track is just following after him everywhere he goes. You know, like Friends. It's like in Friends when like the people are on the sofa watching TV and then someone walks in, Monica, have you cleaned the house? And Chandler's like, no, and then it's a laughing track. Reminds me of that in almost everything that he does on a football pitch, and I feel bad because I don't want to say that, but Christ, it is a common occurrence. Do I think Harry Maguire is a good footballer? Yes. Do I agree that he's had poor moments and poor form in the last couple of years? Yes. The only responsibility that I put on Harry Maguire that I can critique him is the fact that he refused to leave Manchester United when he had a chance to leave for a very decent club, and they are doing pretty well so far in West Ham United. He could have quite easily made a move to West Ham and had a complete refresh, but instead stayed at Manchester United, which for me, in my own personal opinion, is a poor decision of him. And before I do forget, Maguire for 15% off at mazzoladesigns.co.uk, my own football art company, the best frames to remember the best moments in the beautiful game for your own club or the legends of the sport. So link down below, top of description. And yeah, Maguire. In recent years, there has been moments that when even the most cynical football supporter has watched Harry Maguire and even winced at him making a mistake on the pitch. Watching Harry Maguire make a mistake is like seeing a homeless guy in the street. It's just sad. At times, it is genuinely uncomfortable to even observe seeing the mistakes that he makes, because you want him to succeed, to be amazing. I wanted to prove everyone wrong, and there's times that he does really well, and there is definitely a difference between Harry Maguire for England and Harry Maguire for Manchester United. I believe there's a big difference, and of course, as recently he made a mistake for England and Scotland, conceding an own goal, and Gareth Southgate came out, and this is probably the most animated and angry I've ever seen Gareth Southgate in like 7 years. In relation to Scottish fans mocking Maguire, he said, I have absolutely no complaints with what they did. It is a consequence of ridiculous treatment of him for a long period of time. Frankly, and I think our fans recognised, okay, there might be a bit of heat from our own supporters, but we are not going to have it from others getting into him. But it is a joke. I have never known a player to be treated the way that he has. Not from the Scottish fans, but our own commentators, pundits, whatever it is. They have created something that is beyond anything I have ever seen. He has been consistent for us in the second most successful English team for decades. He has been an absolute key part of that. He has been crucial amongst that, and every time he goes on the field, the resilience he shows, the balls he shows is absolutely incredible. So he is a top player, and we are all with him. Our fans are brilliant with him tonight, and I feel very strongly about it. Harry Maguire made a mistake, and that's fine, because own goals happen. That's like a common thing that happens in football. It's like the rest of it that also happens too. But saying that, I think people are still holding things on Harry Maguire that's not happened for many years now. If you go and watch a Harry Maguire compilation on YouTube, you find that a lot of the clips are still from 2-3 years ago. During the COVID era, during the first year of Ronaldo back in 21-22, not really things that's happened recently. And you may say, well, yeah, because he doesn't play anymore, that's why. The scale of the meme, the absolute chaos around Harry Maguire, it hit me when I saw a clip put online from the Ghanaian parliament. They used Harry Maguire as a meme material. He addressed the house and employed Maguire as a metaphor of the Ghanaian vice president's management of the economy.
But there was a player in the United Kingdom, in England, called Maguire, who was playing for Manchester United. Harry Maguire. He's a defender. He was tackling everybody and throwing his bodies everywhere, that he was seen as the best defender in the world. Manchester United went and bought him. He became the biggest threat at the center of Manchester United's defense, tackling Manchester players and giving assists to opponents. Mr. Speaker, When even the opponents fail to score, Maguire will score for them. Mr. Speaker, you remember in this country we also had an economic Maguire. The same economic Maguire was roaming at Central University delivering lectures on how to restore the value of the city. Mr. Speaker, when we gave this Maguire the opportunity to be at the center of our defense, he became the risk of our own goal.
Harry Maguire has become a punchline on a global scale. And last Tuesday in Glasgow, even on a night that England won, he found himself again in the centre of the conversation. Maguire was subbed on at half-time. Of course, England winning 2-0. Of course, whistled and booed by the Scottish support, which makes sense. It's an English player, right? However, the England's away support was very supportive of him. I do believe there is a disconnect between the match-going fans home and away from the local area and the fans that are just online. I think there's a big disconnect here because we saw this again in the pre-season, which was absolutely pathetic. Pre-season, Athletic Bilbao in Dublin, in Ireland. Maguire was booed by a small section of his own club support by Manchester United fans. The year previously in Australia, the same thing happened to him. He got booed by his own fans by each time he took a touch on the ball. A couple of weeks ago, he got subbed on against Arsenal when United played Arsenal at the Emirates, and he was cheered on by Arsenal fans when he got subbed onto the field. In between all that, his manager, Erik ten Hag, stripped him of the captaincy, which of course is no problem, as if he's not starting, he should not be the captain. And it appears that he's now become the fifth choice centre-back behind Varane, Martinez, Lindelof, and even really Luke Shaw. The last 3 goals that Harry Maguire scored in United colours are goals for Scotland, Sevilla, and Tottenham Hotspur. These aren't goals against them, these are own goals that he scored against his own club. To nice Manchester United fans and to, I guess, a good chunk of the match-going fans, he is a good lad who plays well at times, tries his best, but his limitations are most definitely exposed. And to other United fans, or really a large chunk of social media, he is reduced to a joke and the target of pretty much every level of abuse you can find online. In the transfer window, Manchester United agreed to sell Harry Maguire for £30 million. West Ham United made a bid for £30 million, which for me is more than fair considering he's not had a great 2 years for Manchester United. Harry Maguire was 4 years into his 6-year £190,000 per week contract. Ten Hag, of course, put him down to his 5th choice centre-back, is more than happy to get £30 million for that. Under Ten Hag, Maguire started his first 2 games, at home to Brighton, which they lost, and away at Brentford, which they lost, both relatively heavily. Then, the rest of the year, he only started 6 more games. All games they won, but they were putting against pretty lower tier sides, the likes of Leeds, Everton, Forest, so on. He found himself in a troubling situation that he simply was not going to get much game time, and looked like moving on made the most sense for all parties. So, West Ham United, it's time to go. And also at the same time, Erik ten Hag was also desperately needing money to make signings of his own, and that 30 mil could help quite a lot. The likes of a Benjamin Pavard was going to happen, but ultimately fell through due to Maguire not leaving. Speculation went around, and people thinking that he thought he was too big for West Ham United. People thinking that he wanted to fight for his place at Manchester United, and other ones thinking that he didn't want to move away from his family from Manchester. However, one reason kind of stuck. Manchester United could not agree on a severance payout on his remaining 2 years of his £190,000 per week contract. West Ham's assistant coach, Kevin Nolan, said in an interview, saying, "I think it was just in the end, the money didn't get sorted from what I can gather, which is obviously upsetting from our behalf because we wanted to sign him." And Maguire responded back to his reasons for staying at United, saying, "I want to play games, I want to play football. How can I put this? We just didn't come to an agreement." If it is true that a severance package in the way that he got paid out from Manchester United is the reason why he didn't go to West Ham United, then maybe that may show his priority on things. However, if you were being paid nearly 200 grand a week, then would you want to stay on that? But saying that, it's not like he'd be paid pennies at West Ham either. Harry Maguire's mum has got involved, which I find interesting considering it's been like 2, 3, 4 years of this Harry Maguire memes, and I just find it interesting that this is the moment that she decides to make a statement on the entire situation. I'm just surprised that now is the time that she decides to come out about it. It was an Instagram story saying the following: as a mum, seeing the level of negative and abusive comments in which my son is receiving from some fans, pundits and the media is disgraceful and totally unacceptable to any walk of life. Never mind someone who works his socks off for a club and country. I was there in the stand as usual. It's not acceptable what's been created over nothing. I understand that in football world there are ups and downs, positives and negatives, but what Harry receives has gone far beyond football. I do agree that fans online are definitely very, very negative on Harry Maguire, and I do believe that after what's happened with Dele Alli, about how people have gone in on him, and I fall victim to this, I'm not perfect either, and then the same people that are going in on Maguire are the same people that would also look at the Dele Alli situation, the interview on the overlap with Gary Neville. I'm thinking that people need to be more respectful and more aware of the feelings and the experiences that footballers go through, that you never really know what is happening behind the scenes. And I do think that is valid here. I do believe that if someone is not performing well, people have the right to come out and critique someone. However, people do go too far and make it personal and insult, and I think that is definitely too far. However, I'll say this: when it comes to the media, I do believe that the media, when it comes to Harry Maguire, is much kinder to him compared to other footballers. When she says that the media and pundits, and of course I'm sure there's probably some pundits on Sky Sports, for example, that may have gone in on Harry Maguire on his poor performances, and I get that is a thing. However, when it comes to other footballers that I won't even name, but you know who I'm on about, and you know what, I'm thinking about doing a video on this later on. Harry Maguire, when it comes to the mainstream media, I do believe that he's been backed quite a lot by the mainstream media. Looking online, during the 21-22 season, a survey was conducted with Ofcom, which is UK's communications regulator, and they did a review on the first half of the campaign and collected data on the most abused footballers in the Premier League on social media. And in that survey, out of all the players in Premier League, Harry Maguire is second on the list with 8,954 abusive tweets, second behind first Cristiano Ronaldo in that season. Maguire's situation at Old Trafford is not exactly unique. So many players that has gone to United been hit with massive criticism online and has many times stunted their belief in themselves and their growth. Jadon Sancho is obviously the most talked about and relevant link we can bring to this. It felt so clear and simple. Never has a player appeared so much so that a change of environment and escaping from the pressure and entering a club like West Ham. Instead, Maguire chose to stay and wished to fight for his place at United, and that can be respected. I do believe, looking back and the complications of his severance package, would maybe ask more questions than does answer. To add some critique to Maguire, so it's not just all about being positive, which I don't ever want to go in on a player, especially as I feel like I actually feel just bad for him at this stage. People's problems with Maguire, not just his performances, which have been poor in the last 2 years. For the most part, he has made mistakes for Manchester United. However, more the fact that he seems to refuse to take accountability for them. Instead of holding his hands up and saying that he needs to do better, in interviews he comes out with the likes of, "I've got nothing to prove. If I was so bad, I wouldn't play all the time." To some fans, it appears to have an undertone of ignorance and can rub people the wrong way who already believes that he doesn't belong at this level still. People critique Southgate, and they did critique Ollie for continuing to select him ahead of players who were far more deserving of a place at a time period and were in better form. This results in a large section of fans who think Southgate is the wrong man for the job at England. They take out their anger at Maguire instead because he's seen as Southgate's man. So when Maguire makes a mistake, it is instantly used as a massive stick to then slap Southgate with. If you type up Harry Maguire on YouTube, you'll find videos with millions of views, 5, 6, 9 million views on Harry Maguire making mistakes at football. He is mocked, ridiculed in a way that I've never seen anyone else. It's been a long video. Thank you for all the support on the channel. It does mean a lot. And also, by the time you see this, then I should have become a father again. At least I'm going to be a father again in the next day or so. So, yeah. I don't know how I'm going to edit this video, but it may be a bit more of a kind of rougher one. I do apologise, but I've just got a lack of time compared to previous weeks. So, thank you. And I'll see you next time. Of course, tell me your thoughts down below as well. So, yeah. Thank you. See ya.